his other teammates to be enabled. So that's why we don't see him getting an MVP, neither does he get the good stats.
Oh my god, how is Hitsgod getting away with all this? Xbox is just, you know, in a situation where he's trying to clear the minutes and pressure him, but the thing about the slam coming in from the glue, right? As long as you walk over it and it explodes, you are gonna get the reset and give yourself a little bit of HP regeneration. So I'm surprised Havas is just tanking it through. So it's just free value damage. And look at this. He doesn't really care. He can spam all his one and there's nothing Havas can do about it as long as he dodges the initial blob. Meanwhile, top side, DZ, he might die to this, and that's going to be first blood for EUPHORIA Esports.
Nicely done there. I mean, the last hit really hit it well before Shizuka actually backs up, but now Xbox seems to be in trouble. 2v1. That's going to be 2-0 for EUPHORIA Esports in less than 2 minutes.
Wow, EUPHORIA Esports just completely winning their individual matchups on both the Gold Lane and XP. This is going to be a huge hit on towards the momentum swing that GameLab is looking in terms of rotation, and now they're having Ryujin God down bottom as well to potentially mess up the combos that GameLab is, and this is a problem because whenever GameLab comes in, look at this, they are going to get dispositioned by the Shadow Stampede, and this is a problem because once you get in, it's hard for you to get out, especially for GameLab's composition.
Right, so let's see what's going to happen here since the first objective is currently up.
Oh my
but
god.
Dogman, nah, he's going to be okay. He's tanky now.
That is just so annoying to deal with. Meanwhile, Vanogard gonna be looking for the retribution battle. Countdowns are expended as well. GameLab secures the first turtle, but Havas, he's stuck in the midst of it all. The revolution has been used to save his life, but where's the damage? EUPHORIA Esports, they just don't have it at all, and they're forced to disengage. And that is gonna be GameLab saying, it's okay, we've got turtle buff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and because they got the turtle buff, immediately the goal swings towards their favor. So right now they have a slight advantage, but then again, it's still kind of neck to neck. Before this, it was like almost 1,000 goal difference, but from that one sort of like a skirmish, then they got it back. But EUPHORIA Esports still close.
Now that I think about it, EUPHORIA Esports, they don't have a lot of damage dealers, right? They've got so many tanky players. The main core damage dealers is going to be the Faramis as well as the carry. And if the carry doesn't have those early rotation ganks, they are going to lose out so much in damage. And Ryujin God doesn't necessarily have the damage to one-shot players from GameLab unless they're grouped up as many players. So this is going to be a problem for EUPHORIA Esports, and it makes so much sense now why EUPHORIA is just playing so passive now. But speaking of passive, Takanaga looking to steal the red purple buff, and he steals it away from Vanogard. That means GameLab is going to have the driver's seat for this next 2 minutes now.
Oh, in other words, EUPHORIA Esports, they're going to go in for the long run. So, but then again, if you kind of think about it, if you're going for a long run, Xbox with an R-Lot is hard to deal with. You got Takanaga, who's hard to deal with as well. So GameLab is also prepared to go for it.
I agree. Seems like that fight comes in. I'm offended. Pulls Darkman in, but like I said, once again, they don't have the damage to go in for these GG stunts. But I agree what you said. Arlott is extremely disruptive, and the idea of having this Ruby and also Fredrin is to make sure that if it gets in, any spell coming from EUPHORIA Esports is going to keep him in place to a point that he cannot spam those dashes. And that's something that I think GameLab needs to avoid at all costs. But now, speaking of the items here, we do see a potential Blade of Heptasis progression coming in from the Brody, but hold that down for now as they go in for the zone for the first turtle. Seems like the first one's going to be falling. It's going to be Yoshi God in the midst of it all. The counter comes in. It's going to keep him alive momentarily, but he will eventually fall. But they don't have the damage. GameLab is going to try and mow him down with her boss zipping in their way through. But eventually, EUPHORIA, they have to give up this play. Hesgard going for the split. They are going to try and force the fight. Her boss trying his best to chip the back lines. But this Faramis still alive, and Ryujin God, he manages to disposition them, and they are able to chip away at her boss HP. They lose the turtle, but guess what? Darkman now going to be next to fall. EUPHORIA can't seem to catch up as Aizawa provides the assistant to keep him alive. But based on the predictions here, GameLab with a 74% prediction based on the audience.
Okay, so here's the thought, right? Is it worthwhile to trade a kill as to lose a turtle?
Oh my god, speaking of trading a kill, Aizawa, he might actually get bursted down with this dive, and they made a mistake. Now Final Stash keeping a play, but a tier 1 bottom not going to be able to focusing on the right targets. That means EUPHORIA Esports, they get out for scot-free for that punish coming in.
right? So we can see like things are restarting to heat up. Now, the theory of EUPHORIA Esports playing the long game. Are they really playing the long game now? They seem to be getting good pickoffs, but of course they're losing the objective.
It's weird, right? Considering that they just don't have the damage. But the idea of this composition from EUPHORIA Esports is to cause so much disruption and force GameLab to commit into fights that they doesn't necessarily need to take. And that's why EUPHORIA Esports is just so smart. And whenever that happens, all they gotta do is just kill one player because they are lacking in terms of overall damage. And it seems like EUPHORIA Esports, they're just buying time for this carry. But speaking of the buying time, here comes the I'm Offended. They do get the pull, but the follow-up here coming in from EUPHORIA Esports is not going to do too much. Real Manipulation is going to keep them in play, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. They force the count Altar as well, and get absolutely nothing. They've got the CCs, but they just don't have the damage, and they're just looking to buy time. Meanwhile, Headsguard in a little bit of a predicament as he tries to get solo killed by Havas. Will he die? But the split at the last second coming from him is going to survive the onslaught coming from Havas. Oh, feels bad. Feels bad indeed.
That was so close. It was almost a kill at the bottom lane. But anyway, it is still a control at the bottom lane by Xbox. He has not left the bottom lane at all. And look what he has done. He managed to get the turret, almost getting a second turret before he needs to back out.
Oh, GameLab currently, they need to find a way to kill the back lines. But in this case, YoshiGod getting isolated here. No assistance coming from Ryujin God. That means they will have a little bit more space. But you can see Havas is trying his best to zone out Venom God. But once again, this turtle pretty much in the hands of GameLab. Meanwhile, EUPHORIA Esports, they are in a very, very tough spot because Ryujin God, time and time again, getting completely zoned out of all this fights. And GameLab, they are going to try and continue with the pressure. You can see jungle versus jungle. Both teams just completely ignoring each other. But Venom God will secure the orange buff.
Ooh, yes, at least that. But then again, if you look at all the objectives, so far it's secured by GameLab. 3 turtles, even the turret as well. GameLab, they're scaling really well.
Yup, now, once again, they are looking to re-engage with Real Manipulation being expended. But again, GameLab, they have just so much mobility when it comes to all these team fights. Yes, arguably, EUPHORIA Esports has a very strong CC base, but when it comes to defensive fights, GameLab is going to have a little bit of a problem to just go all in, right? But for them to disengage, it's not that hard because of the fact that they have this Eve here. And look at this. Every single time they trade off a fight, there's nothing EUPHORIA Esports can do. They just don't have the damage. They just need to buy time. And likewise can be said for GameLabs as well. And as long as this game drags to the later stage game, both sides just not going to get any value about it.
And there's another issue if you don't have enough damage, right? Is that it's harder for you to clear waves. So we can see how much of a difficult time that EUPHORIA Esports has in order to clear even the bottom wave as well. They sent Headsguard, that's a glue to go and clear the bottom wave. So that's not the most efficient, but they don't have that many options.
Yeah, very interesting macro aspect of the game. But the third turtle already in position. EUPHORIA Esports, they're grouping up as 5, but they need somebody to clear the bottom lane. As Havas is going to be shoving the bottom lane here, but Dogman, Great Walls coming in. But GameLab not showing themselves yet, but they are going to be trying to go in for a couple of flanks in. Seems like it is going to happen. They force a flicker on, but UTZ, big damage coming in. GameLab has to give up control, but it's 15 seconds left before this first Lord. That means EUPHORIA Esports needs to take something out of this, but both sides showing respects that they want to take tier 1 up top.
Oh no, with Venom God being pinned down at the bottom. He's not with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I agree, especially when he is the jungler for the team.
No.
But they are going to force a fight regardless here. They know it's going to be a 2v3, but they don't seem to be able to catch Darkman here. That's going to be the counter Altar expended for absolutely nothing. YoshiGod needs to make a run for it as well. Darkman, does he have the wall charge? When Real Manipulation comes in, he's going to be able to get out. But no, on the side, GAMELAB, he picks UTZ apart before he know it. Very nice punish coming from GAMELAB. A very slight positional error, and he was able to capitalize on it. Nicely done for EUPHORIA.
Oh, taking the advantage despite them not having Venom God together with them. But now with Venom God, it's going to be an even bigger advantage. They're trying on the Xbox, and Xbox kind of pinned down, but it's not hard for him to get away.
Big final slash coming in, but the rest of the team, are they going to commit? Seems like they have no choice to commit now. They are going to be in the middle of the fight. Takenaga tries to go for the kill, and that's going to be GAMELAB taken out, and he will be able to get out. Nice execution. No damage for the side of EUPHORIA Esports, but they still have a lot of zone control. The turtle's still up for the grabs, but Venom God is going to be in the position to do this as well. Dogman needs to back off as well. as he doesn't have the sustain to continue this fight, whereas EUPHORIA Esports has got all the sustains in the world to hold on for their dear lives.
Very disciplined gameplay from GameLab. They don't chase all the way in. They know they got that one kill that's good enough for them to back off because all they want is to secure the objective. But EUPHORIA Esports not going to make it easy.
Agreed, but now down towards Lord half HP. They are grouped up and split off. Countdown is still available for Rujin God. They are forcing Takanaga to be in a little bit of awkward position. The Storm comes in, doesn't connect, but GameLab, they are forced to reset the Lord once again. And it is going to be the dance around the Lord pit once again from both sides.
Okay, still dancing around. Interestingly, both sides not breaking it just yet. But waiting for the breaking moment. Okay, look at this. GameLab, they're starting to open up again. Look who they sent at the bottom lane. They sent out Xbox again.
Yeah, this is smart. This is really smart from GameLab. All they gotta do is just buy time. They've got this Grok to buy time as well. And EUPHORIA Esports, they're not getting the efficient farm they're doing here. They need here. GameLab is somehow getting a play, but here comes the concealed play. EUPHORIA Esports, they're looking for the die, but Takanaga is not the target they're looking forward to. So GameLab, they're forced to disengage once again, and EUPHORIA Esports is going to try and force them back in this position. The lanes are going to be shoving down on the bottom side. EUPHORIA Esports losing a decent amount of resources, and that is going to be the tier 2 falling on the bottom side, while EUPHORIA has not made a play yet, but seems like with the Lord in their favor, they might be able to do so. Headsguard on the sides, getting bullied out by Havos, but it is going to be a 2 split fights here. GameLab all in the middle lane, while the Lord is down towards half HP, gets resetted by Dogman again, but the Real Omniscience catches the back lines. They kill Ryujin God before he pops his Scout Altar, and that is huge. And now Headsguard going to be dragged back into the tier 1 with a split form, with a beautiful flicker from Havos. And that's going to be GameLab on the driver's seat, and EUPHORIA Esports finally makes a mistake, and this is going to be Lord control in their favor.
And also because on the bottom lane, the minions shoved in, so that kind of forced Ryujin to go down to the bottom lane to kind of defend it, opening up space for GameLab. But now EUPHORIA Esports is back to try to stop it, but there's no space for them to get it.
Oh, they have to back off, and oh god, he gets pulled back. Aizawa already slowing him down. They need to keep him alive. Ryujin God still holding on the count altar. He doesn't have it, actually, and that's going to be Venom God getting picked apart, and GameLab is able to just, you know, kite his way through into all this Z-fight.
Speaking about kiting, yes, that was very, very good discipline of kiting. Just pulling them towards the... Oh, Xbox is in trouble.
No, Havos, he is trying his best to hold on. Shizu God just hurts a little bit too much. This carry is going to start the combo line, but Takanaga is going to try and bully Ryujin God, pulls him back for now, but with the Lord pushing down the bottom lane, it is going to be still in favor of GameLab to have control of this fight.
Don't forget the top lane as well. Just look at where the minions are at, just at the doorstep of EUPHORIA Esports. And now EUPHORIA Esports basically have 2 lanes they need to deal with.
The win condition here from GameLab is to close this out before Shizu God comes up online, because eventually Dogman is not going to be able to sustain the burst coming from this carry. And EUPHORIA Esports now, they are going to be forcing a fight. Here comes the I'm Offended. They're collapsing on Aizawa. They get the count altar. They get the kill. They're going to pull back UTZ, and a big appraisal drive will finish him off. And that's going to be GameLab making the blunder here. Great catch coming for EUPHORIA Esports.
Oh, a little bit of an overextension there at the mid. But anyway, they still managed to get the bottom inhibitor turret. They almost got the top inhibitor turret. So it's still not too bad for GameLab. No room for EUPHORIA Esports to really push back.
Oh, Yoshi God, what a catch to save the day. But with no inhibitor, they are going to be having a little bit of lane control. They need to find some kind of objectives, but eventually, GameLab, all they got to do is just kill off Ryujin or Shizu God, and the majority of the fight is going to be won in their favor, and they are going to be able to kite their way through. And EUPHORIA, they're looking to buy more time. Middle tower is still standing in. Ryujin God not looking to fight this at all. Takanaga just a little bit too annoying to deal with for now.
Okay, everyone's like trying to be as disciplined as possible, not overextending, not over-pushing, because especially for EUPHORIA Esports, they need to be aware of the other lanes have been shoved up, so they need to make sure that it's cleared. So they kind of force Ryujin to go down to the bottom lane to kind of clear it off, but that's an advantage to GameLab at the end of the day because they have map control right now.
This is tough. This is very, very tough on how they want to win this game, right? GameLab, they have an easy task. All they gotta do is just shut down the carry, right? But the question here is, if they enter the flank from a wrong angle, they are at risk getting chain CC'd by the Ruby, by the Fredrinton, by the Shadow Stampede coming from the Faramis. Even though they don't have damage, but it is enough CC to find an opportunity for Shizu God to pick off at least one player. So even here as well, even Takenaga is here, you don't really want to be on top of a Fredrin who can annoy the heck out of you. And with the Lord down the bottom lane, this is actually a little bit of a small room for Euphoria Esports just because of the fact that they can mark the bottom lane because it is closer to the Lord. But if the Lord was on the top side once again, this is going to be unfavorable for Euphoria Esports.
Oh, but then again, just look at this. The split coming up from Xbox, just doing that, some sort of like a split push, a mini split push. But now it's coming back towards his team. They're going to go in for it. In fact, both teams are. You can see both sides trying to get into the Lord pit, but not able to do so.
Oh my goodness, the I'm Offender play, they collapse on 3, and now they're going for the group fight as well. The counter comes in, and Shizo God getting a free value pick on UTZ. But GameLab, they're able to disengage. The Aizawa is doing a fantastic job of just slowing them down, but they do have the damage, and you can see they're shifting on towards the Lord pit. They're calling the Arlot in, but they are a little bit too far off. Purple buff going to be contested by Head Gods as well. But GameLabs, they have to go all in, but it's a little bit too late. The Lord will be taken down, and now GameLab, they have to run for their lives. And Darkman dropping very, very low. He might not survive this. The final slash as a safety net coming from Havos to stop them in the track. But look at this. GameLabs, they managed to disengage there from this.
Again, Ryujin has to be sent to defend the base, but then again, the fight's over and they still have the man advantage, so that's kind of okay for them. And they are just showing discipline for esports. The objective was not to get kills at the bottom. The objective was just to secure the Lord. And once the objective is done, they back out. Yes, they do poke a little bit. They try to fish out some skills or some outs from the side of from their opponent, but at the end of the day, they still come back to where they belong once it's all done.
Agreed. Now, middle turret already exposed as well. But interesting enough, coming from GameLab, they're playing for a slow composition. They've got Ice Queen once, they've got Thunder Belt. But for Esports, they may be slowed pretty hard. But as long as they get the right target coming from Yoshi God, they will win the fight. In this case, getting 3-man from Yoshi God was the perfect dream catch coming from Euphoria Esports. And they're looking to make another play again from Yoshi God. As you can see, the Lord's collapsing as well. Takenaga gets slowed down, but there's just no follow-up to punish his way through. But seems like they will settle with objectives.
Ooh, okay, I thought they would have been able to even up the odds in terms of the turrets, but unfortunately for Euphoria Esports, the Lord wasn't enough to take down the top turret, so still a little bit more advantage for GameLab. But looks like GameLab, they're not going to let this go, but the purple buff is still taken by Euphoria Esports.
Yeah, this is tough. This is very, very tough indeed. And Euphoria Esports currently in a position to force a fight as well. They do scout out Darkman, but it is only a solo roamer. It's just not worth it to dive him. The biggest target here is going to be Aizawa as well as Takenaga as the stalemate continues for both sides.
This is really a 50-50 matchup at this point. But we are heading towards the late game. In fact, we are pretty much at the late game right now. This is where Euphoria Esports should be able to show what they're able to do, especially with the damage that's able to be dished out by Shizuka.
Very, very strong late game composition coming from them. But GameLab, look at this, UTZ. The idea from GameLab is to try and kite Euphoria Esports and force a fight, right? But the problem is, if Euphoria Esports doesn't commit, it's hard for GameLab to win the fight because the idea of the competition is to allow UTZ to kite off the Frederick and then pick him apart with the slows coming from Aizawa. And every single time a fight is about to break down, Euphoria Esports just doesn't commit. So both teams has very, very identical compositions where they will excel if your opponents dive into them. Both teams has a very strong defensive high ground compositions where when it comes to whoever overextends, they are going to get killed for it.
Yeah, you always have a good front line for the two teams, right? Just look at how they position themselves. Like for Euphoria Esports, you have the Ruby, you have the Glue at the front, just to open up space. And then on the side of GameLab, you have Dogman and you have Xbox. Both are tanky enough. So looks like it's really, really hard for both teams to really dive in. But like what you said, it's all about who makes that first move. And sometimes by making that first move, you'll be countered. And that's where the opportunity will be taken. But we could see that move be taken now.
Exactly, you can see how harassment's coming from Shizuka is just annoying the heck out of GameLab. Meanwhile, GameLab, they've got a Divine Glaive purchase up on Aizawa. That means this Eve is going to start to hurt a little bit more. But Yoshi God, they go for the pull, but it's only her boss. It's just not worth it. Meanwhile, the backline's Dogman looking to re-engage, but Headsguard, he might actually fall to this. The split spin has been used in Immortality as well, but Dogman finally used the wall charge to finish him off. The countouts are a little bit late to save his life, and that's going to be GameLab finally finding one pickup that they've been eyeing for. And now the disengage comes in. Euphoria, they have to back out. They lose a lot of members. The target Naga was able to finish off Ryujin God, and the slow comes in, and Euphoria, they can't back out. out. They're trying their best, but Yoshi God, is he gonna die? No! He won't get picked off. But UTZ's torn apart memories and Euphoria Esports, they've got Ryujin God back. But the damage has been done, and GameLab will be able to get 2, actually 3 on this fight.
And on top of that, they got the purple buff, so that's great, and they will surely get the objective. So with this objective, they can push. But just look at it at the same time. The bottom lane is putting pressure on Euphoria Esports. This is the downside if you let your inhibitor turret go down fairly early. You'll always be pressured, at least by one lane. And so happened that one lane is on the other side of the Lord Pit, and that is advantage towards GameLab.
Huge plays coming in from GameLab, and now the Divine Glade, the Real Village comes in as well with Countdown to keep them alive. They are trying their best. TZ going for the Torn Apart Memories, but Veno God, he's trapped. He got the Appraisal Route. Can he get out? He does have the Immortality. He's got swapped for the Winter Trunket as well. Doesn't need it, but he will keep his life for now. But GameLab, they still have the Lord pushing in down bottom, so they are going to be happy with chipping away the Immortality for now.
Yeah, stay at the top, stay at the mid, let the bottom do its work, and the moment bottom goes in, that's where they will dive in onto the turrets, take down the turrets, and so on and so forth. In fact, the top turret will be taken out by GameLab, so now 2 lanes open, make that 3!
Yep, now it is going to be exposed as well. Euphoria Esports, he cannot overcome into this fight. Heads God, he's out and open as well. He's getting chain CC once again. He needs to get out. He's going to be A-OK, but Euphoria Esports is going to be focused on taking down the bottom side. Countdown target being expended, but Heads God, he's still outside. Euphoria, they have to re-engage. They go for the bottom. They all clumped up as 3. Here comes the chain CC. The final session is disengaging from them, and they will be able to pick them apart. And that's going to be 1 down from UTZ. No marksman available, but Euphoria, they are looking to fight this fight, and that's going to be Takenaga finishing off the marksman 1-for-1, but they're so low. Look at all the CCs from Euphoria Esports, and Arlon with the final slash does absolutely nothing. Heads God kills off Takenaga, but Ryujin God, he's holding down for their lives, but eventually Havos finds the second damage dealer of Euphoria Esports. While Euphoria Esports, they're still going to be looking for that wet noodle fight that we've been eyeing for as well. It all comes down to Havos. Can he get out? He's got the Immortality, but where's the damage? Look at this! 3 tanks bashing out towards Arlon, and he's got the damage to fight this. Ryujin God resurrects, and now with the Immortality, he's down to his last life, but it is going to be Ryujin God that kills him off.
That took like 2 hours for them to finish that kill.
Technically, this is just, taking a hammer, trying to bang onto his wall, hoping to break the wall in one day.
Yeah, and that wall is like what, what's stronger than a cement? Okay, yeah, I forgot my physics by now. But anyway, you guys get what I mean, right?
Steel is definitely stronger than cement.
Thank you. Yeah, steel, I mean, you guys name it, right? Just look at the amount of, I wouldn't say the amount of defense on GameLab, but the lesser amount of damage for Euphoria Esports. This may be, in the long run, they would depend a lot on the Shizu God. And imagine if Shizu God gets taken out first.
Oh, speaking of which, UTZ, he got caught out and he's gonna die to Shizu God. Winds of Nature, no problem. The passive is gonna take him out. Takenaga is gonna try and salvage the situation. Can they kill off Shizu God? No, they cannot. They won't pick him apart. The countdown keeps them alive. 60 seconds on the sidelines for the jungler. 48 for the marksman. Crystals exposed. Euphoria with 1 lucky pick. They are gonna focus on the crystal, but they're throwing bodies for this. Havos, he is gonna keep him alive, but he is just surrounded by too many people. The damage coming from Shizu God, a little bit too much to handle, but they have to play the safety net. They cleared the minions coming from GameLab, but this is gonna be a second one as well, but they're throwing it all on the crystal, and Euphoria Esports takes game 1.
And this is the first time in our broadcast that GameLab drops a game.